Much to my surprise, a lot of you have asked what all the different stuff in the background is and what it means to me. So today, I am going to give you a tour of the Geeky Amreeki show's background. Now, I gotta be honest, a lot of this stuff isn't mine. There are two guys that started this tape studio, Hamid and Jassim. Jassim is a Qatari who is a very big geek like me, and he has all these collectibles. He has tons and tons and tons of collectibles. One of the biggest collections I've ever seen, in fact. So even though a lot of this stuff isn't mine, it does mean something to me, and some of the things I actually just picked because I thought they might mean something to you guys. I gotta be honest, collectibles are expensive, and I'm not a materialistic guy. Most of what I make is already spent at the end of the month, so very few collectibles. The biggest splurges that I've done in the past maybe 4 years for myself was a 45-inch television, PlayStation, not even a PlayStation Pro, and an Xbox One X. That's it. So as much as I love them, collectibles are pretty much the last thing on my mind. Now, if I had the cheddar, I had the scratch to get what kind of collectibles I wanted, this background would look a lot different. It'd be a lot darker and a lot more serious. But as it is, it does make me happy. I think it's really cool. It does speak to my personality, and it gives you guys something to look at besides this big dumb face. So that being said, I'm now going to take you guys through and show you the different stuff and tell you why it's there, what it means to me, or what I think it might mean to some of you. So as you can see, I have Doc and Marty and the DeLorean from Back to the Future because I love Back to the Future. I think it's one of the best comedy sci-fi movies ever made. It's got fantastic pacing, the acting is great, and it has one of the most tense endings in any film, much less in any sci-fi comedy. And I also like the fact that it was the inspiration for Rick and Morty. That's why Rick and Morty look so much like Doc and Marty. Then, of course, there's the DeLorean. I think the DeLorean is one of the coolest movie cars ever, and I think it's one of the coolest cars ever. Fun fact, they actually still make these. You can custom order a DeLorean today. Then, of course, I have two of everyone's favorite Battle Royale games, PUBG and Fortnite. I gotta be honest though, I haven't played either of them in a long time. I got burnt out on them, especially Fortnite. I played the hell out of Fortnite when it first came out. I've got a ton of Winter Royales, which is cool. I'm not big on building. I'm more of a stealth and sneaking around and then taking out the last person when they don't expect it from a different place, sometimes right from under their nose. At PUBG, I thought it was alright. I've never been a huge fan. I think the controls are clunky. The graphics are kind of booty, but I do appreciate what it did for gaming and what it did for the genre. And of course, I love the movie Battle Royale, as you guys know, which both of these IPs have blatantly ripped off, so I had to at least give a shout out to the film. Then we've got Aiden Pierce from Watch Dogs 1. I thought the game was a lot better than people gave it credit for. I had a good time playing it. I still haven't played the second one, but I'm really excited to play Watch Dogs 3. I think it's really cool that you can play as any person that you see in the city. I'm just curious to see how well it's going to turn out and if it's going to be repetitive, but I love the idea. Of course, everybody knows who this is. This is War Machine. I'm actually not a massive Marvel fan. I love Marvel. I used to collect the trading cards and everything else. I'm more of an Image, Dark Horse, Valiant, indie comics, and the artists who broke off from Marvel and DC and kind of decided to do their own thing. I do love the Marvel movies. Obviously, the quality varies. For every Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 or Spider-Man Homecoming, you have a Captain Marvel or Thor the Dark World. But I'm definitely not a diehard Marvel fan that thinks every movie is good. I mean, even Black Panther, it was pretty good, but the last act is just trash. It's so full of CGI crap. The first two acts are great, and then it turns to a typical Marvel CGI shit show. Now, all the games and the books that you see in the background are mine. I think they're a great value for what you pay, and you get a lot out of them. Plus, they transport you to whole other worlds. I tend to go dark with my fiction, whether it be movies, shows, TV, anything. I do like some positive stuff once in a while, but life is happy in general, so sometimes I want the drama, I want the darkness. I've got all these PlayStation games, but I gotta be honest, the only one I've actually had time to play is Assault Suit Lanos, which you guys know as Target Earth from the Sega Genesis, but they remastered it. But all these other ones, I still need to play them because I haven't had a chance. I'm always doing reviews on newer games and on, the big titles and all that kind of stuff. And I usually play on the Xbox and sometimes on PC because I love Xbox a lot more than I love PlayStation. I love all the consoles. They all have good games, so there's not one console to me that's better than the others. Now I have these rabbits and I have Crash Bandicoot in the background because they're really beloved characters, but I gotta be honest, I haven't played the Crash Bandicoot games. I just never really got into them. I love platformers and stuff, but I don't know, maybe one day I will, because I heard that the trilogy remake is really hard, and I love hard games, especially old school style hard games. I haven't played any of the Rabbids games either, and that's because, like I said earlier, with my books and my games, I tend to go darker, but I know a lot of people love them. I do love their designs, and I do love the personality behind them, so I had to put them up here. And this, of course, is the Xenomorph from the Alien and the AVP franchises. This is definitely mine. I love H.R. Geiger's work in general. I'm a huge fan of his dark, macabre, erotic style, but I love the creature designs that he's done for the Alien franchise and for Species. But I think the Xenomorph is one of the best horror, sci-fi, and action characters ever created. You know, it's one of the best villains, the best monsters. You got the blade on the end of the tail, you've got the face buster, you got the claws on the hands and feet, you got the teeth. This thing can just destroy you so easily. And then, of course, you've got the acid for blood. Then, of course, we have Ryuk, everyone's favorite death god from Death Note. I think Death Note is an amazing story. It has great lore, especially the Netflix version. I thought it was much better than the original anime. Sorry, I'm just kidding. I couldn't keep that going. But it definitely didn't do the original justice. But then again, neither do the Japanese live-action version. And then, of course, we have Chucky. I think Chucky is a pretty iconic character in horror. He scares the hell out of little kids, which I've seen in action many times. Even though, like, the killer doll thing had been done a million times before Child's Play came out, I think it did a nice twist on the genre and really made Chucky its own thing. And of course, Ready Player One has one of my favorite cameos of all time at the end of the film, and that is Chucky. Chucky's just awesome. He just murders a bunch of people straight away in that movie. And then we have the special edition Spider-Man PS4 Pro. This is not mine. This is the office's PS4. I have just a regular PS4. I already got a PS4, and then the PS4 Pro came out right after I got it. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to spend that money again. Then, of course, I have the famous block from Mario. This one's Jossum's. Jossum's a huge Nintendo fanboy. I like Nintendo, I love Mario, but honestly, I prefer Mario 2 over all of the other Mario games. The last one I played was Mario Sunshine, actually. This one is definitely mine. This, of course, is Jesse Custer from the show, and more importantly, the comic Preacher. I love Jesse's character. He's very nuanced, he's layered, he's very complicated. Sometimes you really love him, sometimes you really hate him, you think he's an asshole. And I think that's important when you have a good anti-hero. And then, of course, I have Cassidy, Jesse's best friend, one of his only friends. I think he's an amazing character. I love the dynamic between the two of them. I think they have a great friendship. It definitely has its rocky points. I think Cass is just awesome. I mean, he's a vampire. He's basically indestructible as long as he has blood to heal up. Now this, which you guys might or might not see in the background because my big head's usually in the way, is the box that you got when you pre-ordered Grand Theft Auto 4, the collector's edition. And then, of course, we have an airsoft pistol. We have 2 or 3 of those around the office. Sometimes we shoot each other, and sometimes we actually get them all together and we do a competition to see who is the most accurate with them. This obviously is a Iron Man helmet. I'm more into Image Comics. I like the Marvel movies, but I'm not like that big a fan that I'm going to go out and buy the collectibles and stuff. But I think it's pretty cool. I like it, and I love what Tony Stark stands for. You know, he's imperfect, but he tries hard. He wants to make a difference, and I think that is pretty good. That's what every good comic book hero should be. And this, of course, is the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones, one of the best television shows ever made. At least it was until they ruined it with Season 8 and a lot of Season 7. Now, obviously, the real Iron Throne would be about 7 times the size of this, but they couldn't make it that big because they had to be able to move it around the different sets and to other countries and everything else. But I still think it's a pretty cool design. And even though 7 and 8 sucked, the other seasons were pretty much rock solid thanks to George Martin's writing. So, of course, I had to give it a spot in the bookshelf because it's just cool. We've got the Winnebago, Jess, Saul, and Walter from Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is still one of the best shows ever made. It always will be, especially when it comes to crime. Some people are upset that they're making a 2-hour movie about what happens with Jess after. I honestly am glad, and I can't wait to see what happens. As charismatic as Walter White's character was, I think he was a horrible, horrible person. And he kind of got what he deserved in the end. And some people might not agree with me, but I think Better Call Saul is even better than Breaking Bad was. Better Call Saul does storytelling better. It does a lot more show and less tell. You know, it's the same people making the show, but their storytelling has just gotten so much more skillful. The visuals are very noir. I love them both, but I think honestly Better Call Saul is going to be better in the long run. And then, of course, we have a bunch of Funko Pops that are all sci-fi related. We got Rick and Pickle Rick from Rick and Morty. We got Wally from Wally, and of course, the pilot from Star Wars. But I really love all these characters, and I love sci-fi in general, so I had to put them up. Then I've got Rick Grimes, one of the best characters in all of zombie fiction, period. I love him in the comics. I love him in the show. Despite 7 and 8's writing, I still think he is an amazing character. I don't know what happens to him in season 9, so please don't spoil that for me, or I will block you, and then I will hunt you down and murder you. But I think Robert Kirkman is pretty much a genius. I love his books. I love his characters. I've always felt like Rick Grimes is the type of person I'd want to be during the zombie apocalypse. You know, capable, violent when you have to be, basically just doing what you need to do to take care of your loved ones and your friends, but not going out of your way to be, you know, a raider or just a bad guy. You know, I've got these two pieces to remind me of who I am and what the Geeky Amreeki show is, which is about an American guy living in Qatar. The funny thing is, the Statue of Liberty is actually Jossam's, and then the Doha skyline is mine. And I think that kind of symbolizes the melting pot that Qatar has become for, you know, Arabs and the West. And here's some more of my books. These are more of the fun variety, not so deep, not so controversial, not so dark. Then I've got a bunch of games. I have played all of these except for Alien Isolation, which I'm really looking forward to. I just really haven't had the time to get around to it. I want to sit down and just enjoy it. And most of them were average. Some of them are a little better than average, but nothing really just blew my mind. All of them kind of burnt me out a little bit because they're all open world and they tend to overstay their welcome. Then we've got Edward from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I think this is a really cool statue. This one is Jossam's because I cannot afford statues like this. I honestly have not played Assassin's Creed Black Flag yet. I really want to. Pretty much everyone I know still says it's the best one. I liked the ship elements from Assassin's Creed 3 and Origins, but I, again, need to play Assassin's Creed 4. I love all three of these Funkos. These are some of my favorite characters in all of comics since I was a kid. I've always loved Spider-Man and how hard he tries and try again until he does fix it, or he does help someone or save somebody or get rid of the big bad. I love the Joker. I love the fact that he's an anarchist and he's basically the mirror opposite of Batman. And I think so far, every portrayal that I've seen of the Joker, Jared Leto's is definitely the best Joker. I didn't like the whole growling thing and the gangster stuff and the tattoo on the forehead. And of course, I love Batman because Batman is just a dude who's trying to do things for the people of Gotham. But at the same time, I do realize that Batman is mega rich, so he had the time and he had the money to go get all this training and to get this high-tech gear and everything else. So even though he is just a guy, he's really not, it's just like Iron Man. He's really rich, so he has the resources. And then, of course, I have the infamous Pooh Bear from Breaking Bad. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say what it was because I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen the show, because a lot of people still have not seen Breaking Bad. It's on Netflix, so why not give it a chance? And as you can see from the face, the burnt face, the missing eye, this is not a teddy bear that kids are going to be walking around with. And lastly, I have the Xbox One X, which I absolutely love. I've loved Xbox ever since the first one came out, and I bought it in Japan. I was the only person who had it. Once my friends started playing Halo with me, most of them got an Xbox. Yes, this generation Xbox has really sucked with the exclusives, and they really dropped the ball when they launched it, when they said all that stuff in that first briefing, and it destroyed their sales and their rep, but they did make a comeback. And as you guys just saw in E3, they have a lot of great titles coming out for this console, so I am glad that I have it. So that's it. That's the background for the Geeky Amreeki show and what it means to me and hopefully what it means to you guys. As a matter of fact, if there's something that's here in the background that you think is special to you, let me know what it is in the comment section below and why. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't always want to just do a straight up film review, and I want to do some things that are personal so that you guys get to know me a bit more, and hopefully we can connect. So thanks for watching the Geeky Amreeki show, and I'll see you next time.